Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a brand new segment, a new type of content that we are bringing to you from Universes Academy. It's a little segment we like to call Two Old Heads, One Deck. I am Matt. I'm an old head. And with me
Uh,
tonight is Chris, who is also an old head.
awful. But you're an older head than I
Oh,
am,
yeah, I might
so
be an
yeah.
ancient head, but
You're an ancient head. I'm
yeah,
just an old head, so
yeah.
yeah.
Ancient head doesn't really have the same ring to it, so
You're
I'll just.
like super boomer, and I'm baby boomer. That's what it is for the
Yeah.
most part.
Um, so what the idea is with this segment is we're going to go and we have each, without talking to each other, have
Right.
built a deck for off the same symbol. We did establish we're going to build this character on this symbol,
Yep.
and we each built a deck for that character on that symbol. This week, the to launch it all off, we started with none other than the newest version of the story's main protagonist, Mr. Zuko Midoriya. So Zuko Midoriya 3 was the character, and Chris, what symbol are we building him off of?
Uh, just before we get any further, I just want to say that local mine Carl kind of phoned in a question and kind of suggested this. So thanks, Carl. Anyone else wants to see something like this? Let us know in the comments below.
He's
But
saying so if it's
since
terrible, blame Carl, is what he
yeah,
just said.
yeah, blame Carl if it's terrible. So really, well, obviously we're going order because Earth and Good are too easy to build. Like they just kind of just build themselves. Like you
Right.
could do some neat things with twice stuff off of Good and use some of his cards. But I thought order would just be a little more spicier because it's his off symbol, but it's a symbol that matches his first version.
Right.
So it's like okay, so but yeah, like I thought, hey man we can either build order punches or we can go super cool and go order kicks. So yeah.
See. So here, what we're going to do now is we're going to share with you our list. And then we're going to go
Oh
through
boy.
and we're going to kind of talk through our list and, just kind of, there'll probably be a fair amount of overlap, right? It's only a four
Yeah.
set game right now. Even further, if we ended up going with the same subset of attacks, even further
Yeah.
foundations, we
Yep.
both like good foundations. So, there's
Yep.
probably some discrepancy because there are a lot of good foundations right now, but especially off of order.
Yep.
But
And in
that being said,
pregame, I realized that I screwed up big time on some of them. So yes, we will
yeah,
go into my follies. That's
it's
for
okay.
sure.
It's okay. Look. Also, it should be full disclosure to the viewers. Both of us built these decks. This is the first pass. These are not
Yeah.
refined. These are
First
not
pass.
tested.
Correct.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to talk about the two first drafts that we've made. Look at how they're similar. Look at how they're different. Kind of talk through a couple of those things, and then we're going to go and we're going to actually combine those lists and build a third deck that is kind of like all right, this is what we would actually do after we've talked through those ideas.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, we hope you enjoy. If not, let us know and we'll figure out how to
Yeah.
improve two old heads,
Yeah.
one deck. So, here is Chris's list
Yeah.
for Zuka Midoriya 3, and here's mine. So, for our audio listeners, I just put up an image of each deck list below us on the screen. And for our YouTube and video watchers, you can see those on your screen now. First thing you may notice is that our decks are a little bit different card count. Chris, what was your total card count when you finished?
60 plus character.
60 plus character? Okay.
Yeah, plus character. Yeah.
So I ended up sitting at 57, I think.
Oh, I tried to get there. I couldn't get. I wanted to get to that sweet spot of like 55 to 57.
Mhm.
I just couldn't do it because I like too many cards. I guess I could cut some 4-ofs to 3-ofs, but at first pass we're gonna play it. We're gonna play it at 60 and see what we can cut afterwards. So,
Yeah, and honestly, like I would probably try to cut like 3 cards from this if I really could. Like I know it's not a hard and fast rule, but just in general, I like that 2-to-1 kind of exchange of like for every one attack, there's 2 non-attacks,
hmm.
just to kind of smooth out my checks and be a little bit more consistent.
Yep.
And sneaking in those extra character cards because you need that for this stacker type character,
Yeah.
kind of threw off that math for me. So probably some refinement to be done there, but
Yeah. Yeah,
we
for
live and we
sure.
learn. So you want to start with the foundations, I guess, since we talked about how good order foundations are?
Sure. So I kind of went with I obviously, I'm pretty sure, 'cause I haven't seen your list. I went with
Mhm.
Questing Assistance, You're Finished, and Saving Bakugo as my zero diffs.
Okay.
Requesting Assistance is probably ban worthy at one point down the future when there's something that needs to be readied a million times and it's just too good. One
Yeah.
day. one day. Because what else do kids complain
To,
about?
to be fair, it says it hasn't been ready this turn.
Very
It's
true.
kind of a
But if
face.
there's something that's completely broken, that is going to be, hey, I get to use 2 uses of it.
Yeah,
But hey, whatever. We're here
right.
to have fun. Your
It's
finish is a
it's
really
called
solid
capabilities,
zero.
and it's off of air.
Yeah, very true. Yes. So your finished is a really good solid deadlock piece. It's a 1-for-1 trade. You can randomly draw a card off of it if you like pitch some momentum or something, or
Right.
maybe discard to something. And then saving Bakugo is, hey, look, you flipped my good piece. I'm gonna unflip it and draw a card. And we love
Right.
drawing cards.
And
So
and you ended up, it looks like, with 9 total zero diffs.
yeah,
Uh,
9. Yeah, I went 3 requesting, 4 year finished, and 2 saving Bakugo. Probably it was more along for block spread
mhm.
is the reason why I did that.
Yeah.
Because I was a little mid block heavy, so I kind of cut the mid blocks down, and I think the your finished in the long run will probably pay off. Having that extra deadlock effect is usually pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite thing about that card. Is that, like, if they dare to go into deadlock, you just instantly snipe their best defensive
Yeah,
piece or their best offensive piece, depending, right? Because it doesn't say your
yeah,
turn; it says deadlock, enhance,
yeah,
commit one rival
yeah.
foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So I only had 7 zero
Okay,
diffs. I had 4 year finished, and I had 3 saving Bakugo.
okay,
And to me, saving Bakugo right now, just in this meta, is just too good to not use. Like,
true.
there's so many decks, I'm looking at you, Earth Symbol, that want to, like, target flip your best defensive piece, right? So they can
Yeah,
kill you on turn
yeah,
2, or they can push through.
mm,
And then Bakugo just says, nah, man, that ain't happening. And also, I'm going to draw a
yeah,
card. Like, you better have 2
yeah,
instances of it. And that's, yeah, I value that highly. So I wanted to make sure to main deck those. I think you
yeah.
can make an argument for, putting a couple of them in the side and then bringing them in, especially if you want to try to main some requesting assistances and all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like, I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to include requesting. Honestly, that would
Yeah,
probably come down for me, how much momentum I end up with in the deck. I don't
true.
believe,
Very
as
true.
is, I'm really planning on using a whole lot, but we'll get to attacks later and kind of
Yeah.
determine that might just be a false assumption on my behalf, because I think a lot of the attacks have keywords that might use it, now that I think about it, like I might want some
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, true, true.
Um,
What about your one diffs?
so for one disc, I went with 3 self-sacrifice.
Okay.
I went with 4 calling for backup and 4 ice gliding.
Okay.
And that is because I really like Midoriya's defensive ability to give Breaker 2
Yeah.
once per turn if I block with one of my attacks. So I wanted to include ice gliding at a 4x because that just helps me block, right?
Sure.
I do also fully acknowledge that if that's what I really want to do, requesting assistance also gets some extra mileage there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Block with the
It
first
does.
one, then ready
Yep.
it up, then use it on the second one. Hey, I can just
Mm-hmm.
chain block this way.
Yeah.
And then calling for backup, I just have a hard time if a deck can run that card, not running it. Like, it is flip draw a card.
Yeah. Yep.
And, like, I've even used it sometimes when I'm just, like, at the I need to find a certain block and I don't have it in hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
The
using it for
cycle
the
part.
filter, even. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's
The
just,
filter's really
I'm
good.
never
Yeah.
sad to get one of these in play at any point in time during the game. So I have a hard time not including them. And then self-sacrifice is just, I also, when I build, I don't build into deadlock unless I have absolutely no other choice. And
Yeah.
that means I either need a character that destroys things or I need a foundation that destroys things. And
Yeah.
self-sac is just one of my favorite ones that does that.
Yeah, I agree. It's like one of those premier cards from set one. It's just like it has +1 low block. It has a very, very good ability. Even though it's like, oh, it's only -1 or +1, but still that can turn a half block into 2 instead of 3, or it can pump
Oh,
that
yeah.
damage up into that odd number where you need to do that 1 extra point of damage.
Yeah, well, it always just feels good, like, when you start blocking and then, like, you have to tap something, right? And then you're just
Mm-hmm.
destroying it to reduce damage as the turn goes on, and you end up saving, like, 3 or 4 life, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, they're outside of lethal now. Or
Mm-hmm.
on offense, when you're like, hey, I got to push in this turn, I got to get there, and you start committing things because you check poorly, and you're like, I'm just going to blow these things up because I'm not getting another turn anyway. It's now or never.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
And
agree.
yeah, the card just feels good, and it's like 2 points. It's got a crazy good block on it, +1 low.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Midoriya One, for all your crazy blocks.
Right.
With you giving -3 speed to certain zones, why do you need a +1 high or a +1 low?
Yeah. It's got
Oh,
negative blocks. It's cool.
yeah, it's great. I also went with I had 3 self-sac, 4 calling. I went 3 ice gliding,
Mhm.
but I also thought I thought I had 1x kindle the flames, which is we're trying to block with stuff.
Sure.
So block ready, it kind of re-readies itself after a block, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it gets stunned, you can block and then ready it. And then I noticed that a couple cards aren't like, we don't have like speed outside of EX, so we need a momentum dump.
Mm-hmm.
But so like fusion kind of can do the +2 speed to a kick or an EX, which could easily be something else now that I think about it. But it's just snap build. I just put a couple in just because, hey, it's first pass.
Yeah, well, and it also
But,
has the speed reduction also, so like it works on
yeah,
offense and defense. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's a multi-purpose card. So,
both of those are cards that I looked at. I think fusion is one, like you're saying, depending on how much you value the speed reduction and how much you want to be like offensive with your kick lineup. You probably either do or don't run it, right? Like, because I think to your point, it and ice gliding or it and calling for backup probably share a slot.
Yeah, I could easily just cut that and then just throw the 4th ice gliding in, and then I can shrink my deck down a bit. Like I said, I'm trying to get to that 57 card, so I could easily just cut. I like the 1x Kindle the Flames because I think it's a kind of a neat, cheeky card, but I could easily just cut the 2 fusion and go with the 4th ice gliding. We're at 59, so we could find spots somewhere else down the line.
And kindling, like, again, because I was talking about how much I like his defensive ability. I thought long and hard about this one. Like when I was looking at one disc, I was like, I don't know, like how often am I going to get to do it? How am I going to actually block? But yeah, it is kind of cool that you can, because it's after you block an attack, right? So that means you can commit it, pass to block, and then respond to ready it. Yeah. So like that's pretty cool.
After you block with an attack and respond breaker 2 to your opponent.
Oh yeah. You
do that. Yep.
But yeah. So pretty similar overall as far as zeros and ones are concerned so far. I think just in general as deck builders, you tend to include like more 1 or 2 X's in the list than I do. Whereas like I'm very much like if I'm not running 3 of something, I honestly a lot of times don't even put it in the main. I'll put it in the side or something. That's not like a hard and fast rule for me by any means, but just observing like when you and I send lists back and forth over the past like year or two, and I'm like, consistently that's kind of a difference in how we build. Like we'll have a whole lot of the same cards, and then like cards that I would probably board, you put in a couple main, and then vice versa. And it's really cool to see though, right? Because like to your point, like we've both found success at different points in times doing different things. So there is no, hey, you have to do it this way. Which is what's really awesome about the deck building in this game.
But that's also why your lists are usually smaller than mine, because I like adding those 1s and 2s. I like having the options of having them available. You're just like, nah, fam, we're gonna beeline to our game plan, and if we need audible, we'll bring these guys in. Which also works too. It's one of the cool things about our game that you can easily. Like we can build like this, like the same characters, same symbol, similar cards, but our numbers are different because we like this tech piece or that tech piece, or we like 4xing this, or we like maybe you 2x something and I 1x something, and then I keep the rest of it in the board. It's just neat. It's something that makes me really happy about our game.
It's really cool because like you get to see kind of like people's overall approach to deck building and what they do or don't value, and also how they perceive. Like the state of the game, right? Like one piece of information that like was shared with me a long time ago when you're building a deck is, like the individual was talking about how they wanted to, if they're going to build a deck and they want to build it basically to your point, like to the nth degree. Like if it's an offensive deck, they were going to build it with every piece of offense. Like they're putting 0 defense in it to start, and then they scale it back to see what defense it needs to be able to really succeed. Or on the inverse, if you're playing like a control deck, they build it like to be super defensive and have clearly an offense in a win condition, but they wouldn't worry about that to start, and then they would add it in and figure out how the offense would work. And I thought that was a really cool, interesting thing. And if I'm not mistaken, the individual that shared that with me is currently one of the designers of this game. So he and I were talking years ago, and if I remember correctly, I don't want to misquote him, so I'm not gonna put a name on it. And I'm not gonna quote him directly, but that was basically the takeaway from the conversation, and it always stuck with me. And I always appreciate that insight because they were also a successful player at this game. So as most of the designers are.
Yeah, most of the designers are. I don't know about that church guy. I have no idea what he's done in his entire life.
I literally couldn't tell you exactly when I lost to his team for him to win. I couldn't tell you that. In top 4. Yeah, that might have happened.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So like I wonder. I think our two dips will probably that's probably we're gonna vary a lot. I assume.
Yeah.
Um, I went with more of a I went with a 1x shot treatment. I three passing the torch. A couple fulfilled my duties. Heroic lineage. Can't escape for the 1x. I like that cancel, the draw cancel. I like that a lot. I think Sense of Justice is the new is the creme de la creme at a set 4 for defense because
Hmm.
everything is keyword gated now. So
Well,
thanks,
and
Mega Man.
yeah,
You know,
right, right.
and the 1x Citywide Crisis. I know it's gonna be a harder card for people to get because it's out of the plus ultra 4 cards,
Hmm.
but it stops defensive draw. Well, it doesn't really stop defensive draw. It
Right.
clogs their card pool, so it makes them put a card face down into their card pool
On a commit.
on a commit. And then hey, guess what? We can request an assistance to ready that and be like, you gonna draw another card?
Yeah, and for the other abilities playable while committed, you have to make
Very
no
good.
tough decisions here. You just do both.
You push all your buttons. We're here to
Yeah.
push all the buttons.
Yeah,
Uh,
that card's hot.
um, one thing I really wish I wish I would have realized that a lot of these cards share two symbols with him, and
Okay.
I could easily snuck in some determines.
Yeah.
So there's probably move some stuff to the board to fit like 3x determined in here,
Well,
which gives us a couple more 6 checks and it
yeah.
gives us another deadlock ability. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, I was gonna say the deadlock ability you're not gonna get a whole lot of mileage out of. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about your attack lineup yet,
Yeah.
but you're not wrong. Like, so here's my thing with Determined, right? I love the card. I genuinely do. I even want to get the alternate art version of it just
Oh,
because I
sure.
like the card,
Yeah.
the abilities on the card so much.
Mhm.
But like, you pretty much have to be blocking with a +3 for it
Yeah,
to
to make it
really
worth
be
it.
value, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're tapping one, that's effectively like adding a speed in wonky math world, and
Yeah.
like, so you need it to drop it down by 2 or more to really
Sure.
be worth it. And depending on your deck, that may or may not be worth it. You know, like if we were going to sit here go through it with fine tooth comb, you may find like, oh hey, I have a lot of +2 blocks anyway. Maybe I'm not gonna get my mileage out of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have a bunch of +3s, then yeah, it's probably worth it. Entry points, some extra 6 checks might smooth out that offense. You know, when you're making checks and you need to hard check something to not commit out, like
Yeah.
having more 6 checks ain't never been something that people get upset about.
That's
So
the evil symbol
right,
in the old
Um,
game.
yeah. So my two diffs are fairly different. So
Okay.
I went with 4x classmate introductions
Oh, okay.
because
That's a good one.
I like to kill things, and I have a hard time not trying to kill things. So this
Fair.
card just kind of helps with that, right? Like, you know, just adding that extra speed because I thought, hey, the character's going to add the damage. How can I make my stuff land, right? And then of course, you know, it also adds a little bit of damage if it's your first attack on the turn to kind of make them want to block early, which normally people don't want to do. People like to use their life bar as a, you know, a block and a
Resource.
buffer.
Yeah.
So we start with 4x there. Added in 4x heroic lineage because again, I want to be able to block. So if they're pumping damage, then I want to be able to slow it down.
Or if you pump their damage with self-sacrifice, you can give it -3 speed. By the way.
True.
So, yes.
Yep. Absolutely. That is a play.
Yes, it is.
And you know, like I have a couple ways to add speed. Some of the attacks do it. My next foundation does it as well, which I put in some natural leaders.
Oh, nice card.
And really, what it came down to is like I was looking for block zones. Like my initial build, like I didn't have enough highs or lows, so I started looking at the order highs and low blocks. And natural leader seems to fit well. I also run some kicks, you know, so it has some offensive ability at giving 2 speed to your mid or your kick, and then it might randomly steal an ability from something, you know, for an attack, which
Yeah.
can be significant.
Yep.
Not always. Like it's very restricted.
Niche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a first enhanced commit to
Yeah,
only
it's kinda-
only
yeah.
choose it for the playability for the rest of this enhanced step, so it can still be played during the
Yeah.
block or damage and stuff. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
narrow, but it's something. Then I had 3x unexpected hero.
Oh yeah.
I love
that
this card.
Yeah.
Enhanced flip. This deck gets -3 speed, +3 damage. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what this is in here for. I don't have any way to make them discard cards, but you know what? If they discard to filter or something, I'll draw an extra card, sure. But
Yep.
that flip for -3 speed, it's great when so it puts your rival in a situation where they can't play out their hand and just say kill me because you're like, cool, here's a free 3 damage. You can't block. Then my character adds more. It looks like I'm getting there. It's doing 10. You know.
Yeah.
But then it also, you know, defensively, you can be like, well, hey, I'm just going to give your attack that's not a throw a whole bunch of extra damage to make it very blockable. Because this thing basically then taps for 4, right? Because it flips for 3,
Yeah.
then you commit it for the 4th one, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah, it's
I like that
very
card a
good.
lot.
Yeah, it's very good.
And then I'm right there with you, Sense of Justice. I put it in as a 2x. I
Sure.
feel like that's something that I'd probably end up increasing, as I got to play. Because to your point, a lot of decks right now are keyword gated, whether it's the punches, the kicks, the slams, the charges,
Furies,
the furies,
ranged,
yeah,
everything. Everything has,
right.
stun,
And and
just
and to be
crazy.
fair, it's not midnight, right? Like it's not midnight that just says for the number of keywords. It's
Yeah.
specifically you name a keyword, so you name punch, you name kick. But
Yep.
most attack lineups are still leaning heavy into that.
Yep.
Like if you play against a Jiro, you're like charge, got him. Like
If you get an enhanced step, yes.
yeah, right.
Hey,
But think about that.
home run comment, -5
Yeah,
speed.
the freest block to come to free block town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's what I'm saying. Like these cards are really good that people are probably sleeping on right now. Hey, I'm sitting down across from Mojiro. I'm gonna tap one of these to give -3, 4, 5 damage because it doesn't say cards that they played. It's just ones in there, right? And they're playing that punch package. So I'm not saying that it solves that problem, but I'm saying it's very good into those sort of decks. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Very true. And that kind of flushed out mine. I only ended up with 34 foundations.
Sure.
So again, a little bit on that lighter side, and still some refinement to be done. But yeah, I think in general, like you're saying, there's a lot of overlap here. Citywide 100% would be in my list. I did not put it in because I was like, I don't have these cards yet, so I can't even hope to. But 100%, I think 2 is probably the number I'd land on.
I would love my sideboard in my image doesn't have it, but I would definitely change some things around to fit a second copy in my side for like a deck that just draws a lot in general on my turn because I don't want my opponent to have cards in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
So attacks.
Sure.
So, well, before we go to attacks, is there anything else foundation wise that I had that you thought was like, whoa, what are you doing, or vice versa?
No, I actually I don't know. I think the Sense of Justice, you would end up bumping that up in the long run. I'm surprised with no passing the torch though. But
all right, you want full disclosure? I kind of hate that card.
Oh, fair enough.
And here's why. I play it in a Midoriya deck already, Midoriya 2, and it's very good when you have 1, maybe 2 of them. But I augment my play style to try to play into that card, and I lose games. So it's not like I can just dump out my hand and then just do these things and I'm good. I don't get lucky like that. I very seldomly just draw what I need. But I try to sometimes play into that and then I just get burned. So that doesn't mean the card's bad. It just means that I'm bad at playing the card. So I don't auto include it even when it is on simple. I have to feel like there is a reason for the deck to need it. And given that our character fills their hand that one time you're going to need them to fill their hand to win the game, I just wasn't worried about it.
True.
Might be a mistake. Could be something.
I mean, that's where I could probably make like I said, some cuts, because I want to get to that 57 number. So I could probably hack one of those, hack another card, and I'm there at 57 where I want to be at for a mid-rangey kind of wannabe aggro deck, but it still plays that mid-range type game.
Yeah, it's like turn 3, turn 4. I might be swinging to get some good damage in. Turn 2, I'm probably poking, trying to build some momentum. Maybe I draw the nuts turn 2.
Oh, I don't think my deck's going off on turn 2 at all, but you never know. So,
I intentionally built my attack lineup to have the chance.
Okay,
it doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but it should help compensate for what the character doesn't do, which the character does not push damage through, right?
Yeah.
He gives a free damage by default just by being in play to all of his kick or punches. So I also leaned into the kick lineup on order, and as soon as you get a second character card of him in play, it's +2, +3, then +4. And +4 is a big number for free on every attack. So I went with trying to keep a low difficulty curve to really push out for one big turn. So I have 4x Blitzney.
I love that card. I looked at that card so bad. I looked at that card too.
Well, so here's my thought, right? If I throw this as my 4th attack, it's got +1 speed for each kick attack in my card pool. so it gets +4 speed, and
Yep.
then my character's going to add up to maybe like 4 damage on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, 5 speed doing 7 damage for a 6 diff.
Not bad. It's not that bad for a 6 diff.
Yeah,
And
I
it
can
has a
tell you
it has a deadlock too, right?
it does.
Okay.
Deadlock enhance, unflip one foundation, flip one rival
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yep.
can tell you, John used to kill me with 2 and 3 diff attacks all the time back in the day, where it's just like, I'm
Sure.
gonna throw this random poke attack and it shouldn't kill you, but because you're out of cards, you're near death, it's gonna do that 4 damage I needed to do to win this game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
Yeah.
hate you.
Oh,
So that's
so John beating you at locals is a long time
oh
ago.
yeah. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. Yeah. No. But but yeah, so like that's what Blitzny reminds me of, is those type of
Sure.
attacks and filling that role.
Yeah.
So threw that in at 4x. Reciprocal extend, card's just too good to not put in at a 4x.
Mm-hmm.
High engine kick, card's just too good to not put in at a 4x for me. Like it
Yep.
adds speed to itself. So it's a 6 high for 5 minimum in this character.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, okay, and it filters a card. Done.
Yeah. Very good. Yep.
And then reciprocal acceleration kick is kind of what I was leaning into as like a kill condition, right? So it's like play a couple of attacks, maybe even play it as your fourth attack or whatever, right? And then just clear out your card pool using its EX or whatever ability to clear kicks to add, pay for its EX instead and remove them. And then again, it's going to be super fast. You're going to add some damage to it,
Yeah.
clears out your card pool. Then you use your character to then draw 4 more cards to then keep on trucking,
We live in magical Christmas.
Yeah,
land.
dude,
We have
that's
all
how we
4 built
do.
already. That's just the way we do it here.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
one of the ones you draw, of course, then is rushing in. So then you get to choose one card in your stage, and this attack gets +1 speed for each copy of that card in your stage. So you choose your character, and you have 4 in play. So it becomes an 8 speed doing 9.
Delicious.
Yeah. So I put 3 of reciprocal acceleration kick and 3 rushing ins
Okay.
as my attack, bringing me to 18 attacks.
I thought about rushing in. I think where I varied with was instead of playing like the Blitz knee, I went with the plus ultra 4 card, Rising Engine Kick, because it basically makes our reciprocal acceleration kick ignore progressive as our third attack because
Right.
it gives -2 diff.
Yep.
We do play. So I play the 4 extend, the 4 engine kick. I played 3 knee smash because it's kind of it's a neat kind of 1 for 1 high for I don't know how many character cards we have. So like 1 for 9, 1 for 8.
Right.
People are gonna block it, get a block out of their hand, then maybe dump them with the rest of the stuff. Plus, it can rebuild a foundation. It can build a foundation that we would say we destroy with self-sack to reuse it. Just a couple like neat little interplays you can do there. But again, that could easily just be rushing in but again, I had already had my 5 diffs as Recipro Burst because I love that card as a kill condition. Giving stun 2 to something, then stun 1 on this, and then kind of just,
That's true. I didn't think about that.
So, you
That's
can,
really cool.
it's still, you just give stun 2, stun 1 on the burst.
Reciprocal burst
and
with
then
stun 3 is pretty good.
Well, it can't get stun 3, but the attack before can get it.
Oh, that's
because
right. It can't
has
have the
stun
keyword already, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we lead in with our second attack to kind of chip at their defenses, or we use the reciprocal acceleration kick. Sometimes that burst isn't going to get there, so that reciprocal acceleration kick can stun to them, dump
Right.
the speed, and
Clear
then
the
get them
pool.
with like the 8 to 9 damage, and that's how we finish them off.
Sure.
Because reciprocal acceleration kick's just too good.
Yeah.
And then again, looking at the package that I have, high engine kick, knee smash, rising engine kick, and reciprocal acceleration kick all share 2 symbols with him. So I could easily play a determined because a lot of those blocks aren't very good. So
Yeah.
the reciprocal acceleration kick is a shitty block.
Yeah, that's the
So
problem with the kick package on order, is that all the blocks are doo-doo.
You play if you have a reciprocal extend in your hand, you play it because the card you draw probably has a better block on it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
but yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. Again, we have the same like base of the attack package. It's more of like the minutia, the nuance of
Right.
how we get there.
Yeah, well, and you're a braver man than I running the 2 check. I agree that card's very good. Check a 5
Maybe.
and then
I don't know.
ignore
I'm not very
progressive on your third
Yeah.
attack. Like that's good.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I still don't quite see why this card has a 2 check. Like that's good, but I don't Like if it said -1 difficulty, could it have been a 3 check? You know, like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
okay, I take that.
It's weird. It's weird why I don't get it. Maybe because it's the reciprocal acceleration line. Maybe
Maybe it's a
I don't
low,
know.
like it's an off
Yeah.
zone, like that's really
Yeah.
good. But like,
It does get more damage. It could get more damage in a pinch, and it can
yeah,
also I think it also has EX, so it could be like a pseudo finisher if you have enough momentum.
yeah, I guess. I mean,
You know.
like with your character adding damage here for sure, that becomes
Yeah.
more plausible. And I guess chaining these is probably pretty brutal too, right? You know, you're like, play the first one, -2 to the next one, play the next one, -2,
Yep.
play the third one. Okay, I've checked 3 threes and I'm still completely up on my board.
Yeah.
Like,
And
pretty
then you dump,
pretty
Then
nasty.
you dump the reciprocal acceleration kick for 1,000,000,000 damage.
Right, right, right. You're just like,
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah,
Um,
we live the dream.
yeah, you're like, you just took 18 printed before my character, like, and they were all lows.
Yeah, they were all lows, baby.
So yeah, like I mean, to your point, like basically it's just the difference of the 2 check and the knee smash and reciprocal burst. So like you went for a little bit more on the lows, and also just I would say like more outs, right? Like your deck has more ways to play out of different situations, whereas like I just went for like, let's add raw stats and see if we can kill things, you know?
Hey, it works for Ojiro too. So why not? Why not
Yeah.
for everybody else?
Right.
So,
And like it might be one of those things that ultimately at the end of the day we're like, okay, the deck has enough stats, let's dial this back, we need to be able to do some different things. Or it might be like, hey, the deck keeps coming up 3 damage short, you know, let's add in some stuff to get there. As far as actions are concerned, we did both go with the one and only true order action, which is showdown.
Showdown.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I put it in a 2x. I believe you have it in as a 1x, right?
I have a 1x just because I'm lazy and I didn't want to change it to a 2 and
Yeah.
then find something else to fit in my board.
I had 3 and I cut it down to 2 at the last minute
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't know, with that many character cards, I don't want to clog my hand with just unplayable stuff.
Yeah, very true.
But the card's just too good to not run if you have it on symbol. You know, like it negates a whole bunch of the other action problem cards. It blocks those highs. Like that's actually my only criticism of Knee Smash is that it is the freest block for Showdown to come to free block
it is.
town.
Like that. And I even as I was looking at doing my attacks, I'm like, this is gonna get Showdown blocked a million times.
Yeah, check a 4, got him.
Got him. Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, tap this thing, you know, tap these 2 things. But yeah, I mean, like to your point, that's probably what, like 85% the same deck, maybe 15% variance between the numbers and then also the actual cards chosen. So yeah, guys, that would be where we start with our list. So Chris, you want to take just a moment and us go and try to combine these lists and do the fusion dance and see if we can get.
I don't know if we're on the right side or not. So.
Yeah, no, we did it right. We're good.
Okay, cool. We're good.
Yeah,
good.
And see if we can get it to where maybe we have one playable list to share with everybody, and we'll be posting this list down in the description as well, giving you the link to it, so that way you can check it out. So let's see what we got here. All right. So here is 2 old heads, 1 deck, Deku 3.
Hell yeah.
So what we'll do is I already threw the characters in there. So starting with 4x of the character, because he is a stacker, you want to get as many copies of him in play as possible. Let's just go ahead and throw in the attacks, because I feel like the attacks were already basically the same, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So we're going order kicks.
Yeah.
And I think we both agree that, let's see, scroll down. We both had reciprocal extend at a 4x.
Yep.
Reciprocal acceleration kick at minimum 3, right?
Yeah, minimum 3. Yeah, I think that's minimum 3.
Okay. Did you have high engine kick also?
Yes, I did. I had a 4 of.
Okay, so we both had 4x of that.
Yep.
So that leaves us with the line of why aren't we playing Dropkick Slicer?
See, we made a joke about this at locals last night. We were like, Deku 3 could play Dropkick Slicer and give it stun 2.
Yeah.
Is it worth the 1 check?
Yeah.
You know, like we honestly thought that. It was just like, I don't
It's
know.
a really cool card.
It's just, if it was a 2 check, I would instantly play it if it was a 2 check in it.
Yeah.
That 1 check, and it's not that, like, it's an okay payoff, but it's not that great of a payoff.
Here's the problem. So I'm personally of the opinion that if you're running a 1 or a 2 check, especially if it's a 1 check, it needs to win the game. Like when I play this card, because the reality is that that 1 check will lose you the game sometimes too. So it should have that kind of payoff.
As a Toga 2 player, I can say that I can say that is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and that one does win you games, right? Like stun 3, draw 2,
Yep.
draw 4, draw 6.
I stun 5 somebody with it because I had 2 snack times out. It was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
NPE.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and that's my problem with Dropkick Slicer. Is like it should either just started as a 4 diff and been a 1 check, or it should be like a 5-2. Because like if it's a 2 check and it doesn't win the game just by playing it, okay, whatever. Yeah. But like as a 1 check, like if I'm playing this thing, like I love the ability on this card. I think this card's super cool. I think it also does really cool things within the deck, but it's just not worth the 1 check, not worth that risk.
No, thank you, sir.
All right, so we need to come to a consensus about the attacks.
Okay, so like I really want. Okay, so I know this is like kind of a tangent, but I really wanted to play. Like I guess I could have played Gecko Stomp. Like I could, you could almost go like a mono low package.
You could,
but we're not in that world. But like you could almost go a mono low package with the kicks, which is kind of neat. That order has that sub. I'm just gonna play all lows. What are you gonna do? Half block? And
I'm gonna sweep the leg. Is what you're gonna do.
Yeah, we're gonna sweep the leg. Yes, definitely. We're a Cobra Kai for sure.
That's right.
I think we should have rushing in the deck just because it's part of the DLC kit.
Okay.
I think that and the +1 high block's pretty good, opposed to not outside of running Recipro Burst, since it kind of fills the same slot almost where it's that 5 difficulty with the high block. I'm totally cool with putting rushing in, at a 2 or a 3 of. Like a 3 of would probably be fine. I don't.
You want to do like 2 Recipro Burst?
I think we could split it. Yeah.
Because I do like having the to the point of like just trying to throw stats at things sometimes. Like having Recipro Burst as an option can go a long way. And honestly, I was trying to figure out a way to get in there. What do you think about, so like that leaves us with like Blitz Knee versus Rising Engine Kick and Knee Smash, I think were the different ones here.
I love Rising Engine Kick just because I think it's such a neat card. Because it's something that the commit a foundation, this attack gets 2 damage, your rival discards the momentum, could actually save you a game. Just because a commit to have them pitch a momentum isn't terrible, especially if you just destroy that or re-ready it, like the foundation. Like you just sack it to self-sack, or you ready it with requesting assistance or whatever. There is some value in that. I really wish we added speed because I wanted to play roundhouse exhaust so bad.
Right.
Because give it stun 2, it has 6 speed. You commit 3. Basically, you commit 3 for 1. That seems pretty sick. But I like Rising Engine Kick, but that may. I don't know.
Right now we're at 15 attacks.
Okay.
And we have only 8 4 diffs total, and we have 7 5 diffs total.
Okay, so how's this? I propose this. We go 2 Rising Engine Kick and 2 Blitz Knee. Do you think that would be pretty good?
Yeah, I think that could work because the reality is like you don't actually want to see like a hand of like 2 or 3 Blitz Knees, right? Like you want to see one, maybe a second one in a turn, but like in that turn, it also is kind of a nombo with Reciprocal Acceleration Kick, right? Like you want to throw it when you have a lot of cards in your card pool, but you also want to throw Reciprocal Acceleration Kick when you have a lot of cards in your card pool. So kind of does the same thing there. So 2 and 2 could work. And I'll just have to be braver and not fear the 2 check. You know what I'm saying?
It's only 2. It's all you have to do is get through that first turn. That's all you have to do. Then you're fine.
That's
what I.
This man's never seen me block before.
Oh, fair. But I've ripped a 1 off the top of my deck blocking before with Toga, and I'm just like, well, whoop.
I guess I'm dead.
No, not necessarily. She can ready things. On her
that's
face,
true. She does ready
usually
stuff.
It's pretty fair. But
all right, so
she's a little more forgiving.
Yeah, we're at 19 attacks. That's 2 Blitz Knee, 4 Recipro Extends, 4 High Engine Kick, 2 rising engine kicks, 2 recipro burst, and then it's 3 recipro acceleration kick and 2 rushing in.
Okay, so my question is this.
Yep.
Instead of playing the round, oh man, it's a low attack. How many low attacks do we have in the deck? How many lows?
Lows?
Yeah.
There's 2, there's 4, there's 7.
Okay. Question. Do we have a way to fit Ice Slide Tackle into the deck?
My gut says no, but let me look
Okay.
in. What? Wow.
Like,
All right, here we go. My internet tried to act like it wasn't going to do stuff for a second. Hold on. Whew.
it is a combo. It's a low attack, range, kick, slam. It has a response after you block a high. It deals no damage, but it also has a combo enhance where it gains 2 speed, and it's a base 3/5.
Yeah. All right. So for it as a 5 diff,
Yeah, it's a 5 diff.
it becomes a 5 low 5.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. That has 4 keywords. So
Midnight's blocking it all day. We know this. Yeah.
yeah. Well, even further, like,
Well, excuse me. It has 5 keywords because we're giving it stun 2, by the way.
oh, is that what we're doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the freest block, going to free Blocktown for Midnight, right?
Yeah.
I think that's one of those cards that, like, I think what I would do if I was going to try to find a spot for this in the deck, I'd probably put 2 of it in the side, and I'd probably take out, the Blitz-Knees or something else like that for decks that I realize they don't have many low blocks, right? Or that their highly played cards maybe are their low blocks, right? So they're going to be making a tougher decision then, or maybe I can keep them to hold on to that foundation I don't really want to deal with. By having those in there. And that's if I was going to try to put that in there. Like, I do like that it adds speed to itself. I think that's really good. And there's some other, like, honorable mention kind of attacks here too, like Roundhouse Exhaust. I think you're talking about a minute ago, but like that card's just good. It's pretty sweet. It's target commit stuff. Engine Rush has never been bad. It just kind of draws you to, but it's expensive now compared to other cards. Like set 1, that card was money.
Like, I really like Gecko Stomp, but again, it's a 5 diff, and we're maybe if we were going with a more 5 diff heavier package, you could add a couple of those because it does build you a card if it's completely blocked. It has a nice deadlock on it. But yeah, it's one of those cards where it's like, I really would like to play that card, but I really don't have any space for it.
Right. Like, I just don't know if it does enough for us right now in this build. Like, if we had other ways of artificially building stuff, like off of Void or off of Good, I think it fits in those decks better. Like a Void kick package probably. But that being, or Void weapons even. But that being said, like,
Hiroshima 1 has legs now.
Yeah, totally, 100%. That guy is unstoppable now. Again, his day has returned.
The prodigal son has returned.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. He was never down. All right. So foundations wise, I think we can agree that 4 years are finished, right? Or you're finished.
I definitely think that.
We want to go 3 Sense of Justice, or 2.
Start off with 3, because then we can always just board. I mean, personally, like, you had 2, I had 4. Let's go in the middle. Let's middle it.
I like it.
Split it and just go 3.
Saving Bakugo. We want to go. You had 2. I had 3.
Yeah. 3 is fine. 3 is fine.
You want to try to main 3? We can always cut it down once we get them all together. Citywide Crisis. I think we both agree should be at least 1, if not 2. So we'll put 2 in. We'll see where we land.
Man, that has the destroy
return to
speed.
Yeah.
So good. Because right now, if you look at it, outside of the Giro 2 decks, the meta is just like a bunch of, like, I'm gonna throw 2 huge bombs, 3 bombs, like a speed reset gets you into that. Hey, now you have to have 4 bombs to kill me.
Right. Like, I know Giro kind of does that too, right? Like, after his once he has all 3 zones in his card pool, he's just throwing bombs at you, right? Like,
very true.
And I mean, he just throws a lot more of them, or even further, he just kind of, his bombs are lower difficulty, because he's just buffing them up so much up curve. So, Ice Gliding, 3 or 4?
We'll go 4.
4. Okay, we'll start off with 4.
Because you're definitely right. Because we're looking to at least block once and then block again, then breaker 2 them. Because I don't think we're breaker 2ing on the first block. I think we're breaker 2ing on the second one. I mean, also we're using our really bad attack blocks, so
Right.
we do have to get that extra speed off the attacks from that first block into the second.
Oh yeah. So unexpected hero. You want to throw them in the side to start, or you like them in the main? Did I make a good enough argument for them?
I would start with 2.
2. Okay.
No, I like them. I kind of wanted to fit the card, but again, I had to pare stuff down.
Sure.
So 2 and 1 side.
Okay. Yeah, I'll throw them in the main right now, and then if we get to the point where we can build a side,
yeah, that's fine.
We wanna lean more into the spam and throw in some requesting main as well. Because I think you do have some things like some cool interactions like citywide, ice gliding, some of the things we already talked about. That
like heroic lineage can be reused again.
Right.
Like that.
I think requesting. Want to go 3? I think you had it at 3, right?
Yeah, I had it at 3 of
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? I'm trying to remember the things that we had in common as I scroll through here. Self-sack, we both had at 3.
Yeah, calling for backup of a 4 of.
Yeah. Card.
That card's very good.
Did you have lineage in yours main?
Yes, I did. I had 4.
4? Okay, I think I did too. Yeah. So put that in, and we'll double check these beforehand. All right, so I think that's all the overlap. And then what I'll do is I'll look real quick, and we'll see where we're at. And then
we're at 85 cards. I'm just joking.
Yeah, right. All of the cards.
All of the cards.
So we are actually at 54 cards.
Ooh, sick. Okay.
Yeah. This is we need to add in we did not add in the action yet. Hold on, let me do that real quick because we both agreed 2x on it.
2x showdown.
Okay.
We can always side more if we need more.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Man, I wish Determined worked on that card. That'd be so good.
If only, man.
But I'm also glad it doesn't, because I don't want to face.
Right, I don't want to play into that forever.
I don't want to play into that forever. That'd just be miserable.
So we are at let's see, 32 foundations, 2 actions, so that's 34 non-attack cards. Sure. And then we have 3 more characters that are non-attack cards. So I guess it's 39. And we had 19 attacks. So this is actually, like, for me, kind of like the golden ratios almost.
Golden ratio, yeah.
And, we trimmed out some of the things that added some extra speed. We trimmed out some of the things that were kind of more techie kind of plays so far. Is there anything that we have not included? We're at, wait for the block counts. You're going to like this. All right.
Oh, jeez.
27 mid.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mid. We're blocking mid for days. 14 high.
Okay.
And 15 low.
Okay, that's not terrible.
No, it's not bad, really.
It's just, I think it's more along the lines of, like, there are some symbols that just don't have, like we could change some cards to make it the ratios a little better,
sure.
But I think as a first pass, as a second pass, I should say a more refined version from our 2 lists combining into one.
Right.
It's not too bad. It's actually not terrible.
I mean, and like for whatever the deck's stability counter is, it's a 1.85.
That's just an arbitrary number.
Yeah, it's supposed to pull together like your checks and your blocks and difficulties and all these other sort of things.
Difficulty determined to your checks or something like that.
Yeah, and it's also like the higher the better, right? So if you get to like a 2, you're like basically an unbeatable deck, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
But
I saw someone had like a 2.25, and I'm like, how do I beat that? And then I steamrolled it because it just didn't have enough attacks.
It was just a bunch of foundations because they just jacked it all up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think there's any room? Is it worth playing? I guess we could just like a shock treatment in the main, or is that just another mid block that we don't need?
I probably wouldn't try to main it in this deck. I think you have other things you want to do with your momentum, right? You want to use your EXs. You want to use it, to pay other cost.
True.
But true. I do think that, like, if I were gonna try to find space for it, I'd probably put it in the board at like a 1 or 2x and bring it in. And I think the same's true for like we're talking about like some of the attacks or things like that. Like there's some clear kind of flex slots here. Maybe you add in a 3rd showdown. Maybe you want to add in, more spam and you want to get in another requesting or another saving Bakugo, right? Like there's some built-in wiggle room here in the list. You need some more lows. Hey, we only have 2 unexpected heroes. Maybe you cut, a citywide crisis and you put in 2 more unexpected heroes. Like it's kind of a bad idea. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying like depending on what your matchup is, I would tend to agree with you that I think like for never having done this experiment before, right? The combining list ended up being pretty straightforward, pretty easy because it was like these are the cards that are less, I guess, like flavorful. Like where like you like you said having 1x and kind of some tech pieces main board, whereas I just like to go fast, right? And this kind of combined them and met in the middle because it's like, well, let's look and see what's actually common in place here that they both thought was a good idea. And with the attack lineup, even like I could see what we currently have working, and if it doesn't, then maybe Blitzkrieg ends up just actually being trash because it does want to do the same thing as Reciprocal Acceleration Kick, right? So we cut 2 of those and we add in another, Rising Engine Kick or something, and maybe go up to 4 of those or something, or go to 3 and then add in like another rushing in.
Checks and we just chained them all together. And
got them. Yeah, never check them, only play them.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
because like I was thinking about like as I was building this afternoon, I was like, is there a realm where we play a non-punch or kick in him, like a 1.3 million volts? Like just hear me out. Like we don't play Recipro Burst. We play 1.3 million instead, because that thing is a bomb on its own. And
but here's the thing,
set it up.
You can't push it through.
That's true, but if we use the other pieces, I don't know if it's 2 Magical Christmas Land.
Yeah, it's 3 speed.
Use other, I know. We could use other pieces to then just bomb this at the end of the turn, and then. But again, it's 3 speed. It's super easy. If they're holding like that +1 low block,
+1, +2, they just hard check it.
Because everybody has a +1 low block in their hand when you play that card, so that's just the way it feels sometimes.
It's the third 1.3 that they never expect. The first 2 are telegraphed.
The first 2 are easy block. The third one gets them all the time.
It always kills me, man. Whenever I'm sitting across someone, they're like, first attack 1.3 million. I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, I just want to see if you got it. I'm like, all right.
Sometimes you don't.
I'm going to be real with you. I'm probably eating that one because I think you got a second one. I ate 5 damage for free, but I didn't eat 15.
It's like home run comments. It's just like, well, the first one doesn't kill you. It's definitely the second one that kills you.
Always.
Yeah. Like I also like Engine Trouble as a card that we could side as another action block, or like a snipe piece. Like if they're playing like a lot of speed hate or whatnot. Because that could also be something. Just some honorable mentions for like sideboard tech, I guess.
So, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was looking at actions, and I'm pulling them up on the screen for anyone. Living up to his example was this close to making it into this list for me. I was like, it's another low block. Baby. It's got breaker on it. Okay. It also lets me fuel my EXs, and it actually draws a card finally. This card might not be so bad.
Like Teamwork could also work, but I think that's more of like we play the low block. It's more of we block with it instead of actually playing it for 5 damage.
Right.
Which is, I don't know, sometimes it's kind of wonky. But like in an ally package off a different symbol may work better. But it's just I really like that I really like Rising Engine Kick. I don't know why. Like when I see that card, I'm like, I think it's like one of those cards where you really want to like make that the focal point of the attack lineup. Granted, it's a bridge card. It's really a bridge attack, really. You play it in the middle of your chain, yada yada yada. But like you said, if we chain 2 or 3 of them, our rival ain't gonna look too happy, because just like it's like when you chain extends. No one wants to be extend chained it into. It's just like we just keep compiling, and that's what it seems like that card can do, is just stack on top of each other and just lead to some really crazy turns.
Well, think about like if you lead with an extend, right? You draw 1, then you Rising Engine Kick, then you get -2. The Rising Engine Kick came in as a 5 doing 6 before you used any of its stuff, and you checked a 4, then a 5. Now you can play whatever you want, and you only got to check at most a 5. Like it does. Like I say that I don't know why this card has a 2 check. I do understand why it has a 2 check on it, but I still just wish it was a little bit better, right? But it might be one of those cards that, like, when you read it and you look at it in a vacuum, you have a response like me, but then when you actually play it, you're like, oh, this card's nuts. Like
Yeah.
that's the way I was, even with Reciprocal Acceleration Kick. Like
Yeah.
I read the card and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna be better than
Yeah.
Reciprocal Burst though when it came out in set one,
Yeah.
and
Oh
then
yeah.
people
I
started
had the
playing it. I'm
same
like, oh,
reaction.
this card's bananas.
Yes, it is.
Like,
Yeah. Card full clear for free, baby.
yeah, they share a
You
slot
know?
for a reason, you know. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Very true. Very
so
true.
I don't know. I'm pretty pleased with this, man. I think this could
Yeah.
be a deck. If nothing else, you know, guys, like we're not saying this deck's gonna go and immediately just crush your locals or anything like that. But
Yeah.
what we are saying is that if you've been interested in trying to play Midoriya 3,
Mm-hmm.
here's a starting point for you. You know,
Yeah, and you don't want to play the cookie cutter punch builds. Like this is something completely different because we've all been waiting for shoot style Midoriya. So this is now you can really play shoot style Midoriya now,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is really cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
I may end up having to list this up myself and sleeve it up and test it out.
I'm thinking about it may have to come at my locals as well just to try it out and then report back because why not?
Yeah.
We can't just we
It's
have
true.
to give feedback.
Yeah.
So and then like you said to your point, like this is just a day two, a round two build of him. So like, don't expect to go to the RLE and kiss me this weekend and stomp
Beat
every
all the
Ojiros.
Ojiros.
I mean, you might,
Yeah,
but you
maybe.
could. I don't know, but it's just
Breaker 2 is a not
Breaker's
bad
the
number of
thing.
breaker.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah, the card has some really neat interaction. The symbol itself, the reason why I wanted to go order it because like the kick package has a really nice, I hate the word flow, but like it congeals well together. I guess
Right.
it's like a nice jello. It just goes together,
Yeah.
and
I think that when the initial kick package was made with like set one or whatever, there was
Yeah.
clearly like we want it to do this, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
since then it's just kind of built upon that or done it in slightly different ways, so it still feels good. Because
Yeah.
that's the good thing I would say about set one is that a lot of the attack lineups felt really good for whatever that character normally would be doing, right? Like I would say the exception to that would be like Eraserhead because he just ran this kick package anyway, and that didn't really feel like what he would be doing. But like they were clearly setting up for Eraserhead 2 with all the combo stuff and really
Yeah,
fleshing him out then,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Midoriya or Bakugo or Ida or Kirishima, where like or even Jiro and Momo, like all those characters, like they are very distinctly designed to kind of capture how that character felt, and I think that's just kind of continued on, and now Midoriya gets to do his best Ida impersonation.
Yeah, well, I think that was one thing people had problems with, like Ida 1 specifically. Like, I think Ida 1's a really good character that's criminally underplayed just because he gets to steal the first enhance. If he was a seven-hander, he'd be like one of the best characters in the set.
Oh yeah, he'd be one of the
But-
best control characters.
Yeah, easy. But like his issue is he can only really finish a game off with Recipro Burst.
Mhm.
At least with Midoriya, we get the speed aspect of the kick package with damage on Midoriya's face. So
Right.
this kind of like makes the best of the both worlds here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having a character that kind of shores up your attack lineup's weakness has never been a bad thing. Like from a just objective deck building standpoint, like if your attack package is lacking damage, but you find a character that can run that package that does good damage, that's probably going to work pretty well. If the inverse is true, it's lacking, say, card draw, but it has like speed and damage, and your character draws cards, okay. Or if it's lacking speed and your character can add speed, like it doesn't have to just double down on what it already does, right? Like, if it already does damage, let's say it's the Earth symbol, and you're running your Texas Smashes, having a character that adds more damage to Texas Smash is fine. Sure, you're going to randomly nuke people from orbit, but if you have a character that adds speed from it, that's probably going to feel a lot better because you're going to be like, oh, this is nuts. This is 7-7.
yeah.
Like, let's go.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why All Might 3 feels so good a lot of the times because
Right.
he could shore up that punch package. Well, I need more speed, so I'm just gonna give all my attack speed while my punch package just pounds you into the dirt.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
very cool.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I think that brings us to the end here, right? Like,
Yeah, I
we
think
built
so.
a deck. We took two decks. We did the fusion dance, made them into one, and now we're gonna share it with the world. And guys, if you enjoyed this, leave us a comment down below. Let us know If you did not enjoy this, leave us a comment down below. Let us know. We're all about trying out some new things, and we appreciate the suggestion, and we always are listening to our community. So definitely get back to us, let us know, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, we'll catch up with you guys here soon.
Have fun at your RLEs and your PSCs and your PTQs and your AX, Y, and Zs.
And don't forget all the algorithm things. Like, follow, subscribe, comments. Woo! See you guys.
And all that fun stuff. Have a good night.
Have a good one.